Kick out the jams, motherfucker! Yeah!
Hello, brothers and sisters, and welcome to Classic Rock Facts. I'm RJ. This is the channel that celebrates our shared music history of the 60s, 70s, and 80s. The bands, the concerts, the festivals, we cover it all. Check out our Classic Rock Facts vault. We have over 50 videos including the Beatles, The Who, Led Zeppelin, and Kate Bush. I guarantee that you'll learn a classic rock fact you never knew. If you were around in the 60s, you might know this band. However, if you grew up in the Metro Detroit area of Michigan in the 60s, you definitely know this band. It's mandatory, because at that time they were the most dangerous band in the world.
2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Kick out the jams, motherfucker! Yeah! Gotta kick 'em up. Yeah, pretty good. Yes, I could get crazy. Yeah. All gotta do when the dressing room got hazy. Yeah. I know how you want it. I could get tight. Girls can't stand it when you do it right. Let me up on the sign. Let me kick out the can. Yeah, kick out the jam. Gotta kick 'em out.
Recently, I was driving by this building, 870 North Main Street, in Clawson, Michigan. I had been there many times when it was the Knights of Columbus Banquet Center, but now I noticed it had become a physical therapy office. I wondered if any of the staff there are aware that on Memorial Day weekend of 1969, Wayne Kramer and Fred Sonic Smith of the MC5 violently tossed their guitars up into the ceiling tiles above the small stage which was in the back of the building. They played with such loud volume, in this small hall, that the floor was covered with drywall dust. I wonder if the therapists know that Bob Seger, Ted Nugent, Joe Walsh, and Glenn Frey all walk through the same rear door that they walk through in the morning, with their Starbucks and MacBooks. Oh, and the MC5? Before we get into it, here is a short compilation of some artists that not only love the MC5, but play their tunes at their concerts.
Anything could happen at any given moment. Something could break, somebody could get hurt. That was very appealing to us, that dangerous element.
And I said, wow, what's that? And they said, that is the gospel. You know, they said, you better get the Stooges and MC5 under your belt, son, because that's a big deal in the Black Flag camp. I said, okay.
The MC5's music has been a huge influence on me. They were really like the original political punk band.
That was the heaviest rock and roll band I'd heard, ever when I was a kid.
Well, Detroit's where a lot of the influences from Motorhead came from, actually, because of the MC5, because they were the only band doing that kind of thing back then.
Get
former Hideout Number 3 club originally opened in 1966. There were 4 different Hideout club locations in the suburbs north of Detroit. They were opened by Dave Leone and Punch Andrews. Dave Leone went from nightclub owner to manager to promoter to record label executive. Punch Andrews was Bob Seger's lifelong manager and producer. He also managed Kid Rock and Grand Funk Railroad. His company was called Diversified Management Agency. Also, for locals, there is still currently a Hideout Lounge on 14 Mile Road in Clawson, but it has no relation to the nightclub from the 60s. In the Metro Detroit area, it was not uncommon to have the following local bands to choose from on a typical Saturday night. The Amboy Dukes with their guitarist Ted Nugent. The Psychedelic Stooges with lead singer Iggy Pop. The James Gang with singer-guitarist Joe Walsh. The Pleasure Seekers with Susie Quattro on bass. Mitch Ryder and the Detroit Wheels. And Grand Funk Railroad or Alice Cooper, if they were in town. Along with these legendary bands, the Motor City 5, later shortened to the MC5, provided the city of Detroit the nickname Detroit Rock City. Let's skip ahead to May 5, 1986, the day that the location of the proposed new Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was announced. Final selection had come down to Cleveland, Ohio or Detroit, Michigan. The city of Cleveland was offering $65 million in funds as well as a prime waterfront site. The city of Detroit was at a 15% unemployment rate at that time and could not offer funding, but they did offer a prime riverfront location. It was on the Detroit riverfront, just walking distance from the newly opened Joe Louis Arena and Renaissance Center. When the votes were tallied, Cleveland, Ohio was chosen as the location of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Even though 29 of the inducted acts hail from Detroit, the MC5 were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2024. The band received the Rock Hall's Award for Musical Excellence. It had been a long road since their 1966 show at the Ambassador Roller Rink, also in Clawson. The Motor City 5 began in the early 60s when 2 young guitarists in the Downriver area merged their love of Dick Dale and the Ventures. They were Wayne Kramer and Fred Sonic Smith. Fred played bass and Wayne played lead. Eventually Rob Derminer, a hipster and political activist, took over on bass. Rob changed his name to Rob Tyner and was now the lead singer. Rob chose the name MC5, and in 1965 the rhythm section solidified with the arrival of Michael Davis on bass and Dennis Machine Gun Thompson on drums. By 1967 they were drawing 1,000 fans a night with their high-energy and high-volume concerts. Keep in mind that Johnny Rotten was 10 years old at the time, and Joe Strummer was 13. Joey Ramone was 16. A local magazine wrote, fans compared the aftermath of an MC5 performance to the delirious exhaustion after a street rumble or an orgy. In 1968 they released their first recording, Looking at You. They toured the East Coast, opening for Janis Joplin and Cream. While waiting for Big Brother and the holding company to do their soundcheck, the MC5, who were sitting and watching, grew impatient with the constant tuning of guitars. Finally Rob yelled out, "Kick out the jams!" In 1968, Elektra Records talent scout Danny Fields flew from LA to Detroit to check out the MC5. Wayne Kramer also recommended that Fields should check out the Stooges as well. The band had begun to dive into radical left-wing politics. They created the White Panther Party. They were anti-war and pro-drug. They began using LSD and other harder drugs. These 2 issues placed them under the eye of law enforcement. Many people in their circle were arrested for drug possession. They raised funds for the Black Panther Party. The MC5 traveled to Chicago to play at a protest rally at the Democratic National Convention. After all the other bands, including Neil Young, canceled fearing a riot, they played the entire day. They released the live album, Kick Out the Jams, in February of 1969. It had been recorded on Halloween night 1968 at Detroit's Grandee Ballroom. A controversy took place when Elektra Records demanded the opening phrase of the song, Kick Out the Jams, be changed from MFers to Brothers and Sisters. Hudson Store refused to sell the album saying it was obscene. So the MC5 did what any badass band would do. They took out a full-page ad saying F Hudson's and telling fans to kick in their doors. Hudson's then refused to sell any Elektra records. Elektra Records immediately dropped the MC5. However, they were signed by Atlantic Records, and they received a $50,000 bonus, which meant more touring and more partying and more drugs. Now under a new record label and using the infamous John Sinclair as their manager, the MC5 embarked on a tour of the West Coast. They ended up in a San Francisco jail cell after being arrested for speeding, drunk driving, possession of drugs, contributing to the delinquency of a minor, and assault. Their manager, John Sinclair, was convicted of possessing 2 joints and sentenced to a 10-year prison term. They were now under the nose of local, state, and federal law enforcement for subversive activities. Everything they did was scrutinized. It's now August of 1969. The MC5 are on the charts with Kick Out the Jams and actively touring. They are playing major festivals across the U.S. They also have something to say. So why didn't they play at Woodstock? Their tour schedule had an opening from August 3rd through August 15th. Can you imagine an MC5 set at Woodstock? I'd love to hear your opinions on this. My personal opinion is that I would have replaced Sha Na Na's 30-minute set with the MC5 on Sunday night, August 17th. I know Jimi Hendrix requested Sha Na Na, but the MC5 also opened for him in Detroit in 1968. It seems that Kick Out the Jams didn't fit in with Peace and Love. Either way, by October they were opening for Led Zeppelin in Detroit and Boston. Heading into 1970, the band continues on its busy concert schedule. They play shows at Detroit's Grandee Ballroom whenever they are back in town, including a benefit for their former manager John Sinclair. On Friday, August 7, 1970, the band plays in Jackson, Michigan at the Goose Lake Music Festival. Nicknamed Michigan's Woodstock, the 3-day festival drew 200,000 fans. Alice Cooper, Joe Cocker, and Savoy Brown were listed but did not play. The MC5 and Rod Stewart were added late. I have a video on the Goose Lake Festival in the Classic Rock Facts library. They released their second album back in the USA, but the album was poorly promoted and had mediocre sales. The tour schedule continued and the drug abuse got worse. The band had a falling out with John Sinclair, which caused them not to be able to play at the John Sinclair Freedom Rally, which featured John Lennon and Yoko Ono. The band had decided to back off the extreme political views they had promoted before. From February 4th to March 25th of 1972, the MC5 tour Europe for the first time. On February 13th, bass player Michael Davis is forced out of the band due to heroin addiction. He is replaced by several fill-in players.
MC5, kurz für Motor City 5, die kommen nämlich aus Detroit.
The band returned to Europe in June and played to 60,000 fans at the Rock and Roll Show at Wembley Stadium. They continue touring but end up canceling several shows. By November 12, 1972, both drummer Dennis Thompson and singer Rob Tyner leave the band. Just Wayne Kramer and Fred Smith remained. 15 concerts in Italy are canceled when promoters find out there are only 2 original members left. The band returns to Detroit for a goodbye show on December 31, 1972. It would be their last show ever. It took place at the Grandee Ballroom in Detroit. Sadly, in the venue they once sold out, only 26 fans showed up. Wayne Kramer left the stage after getting paid and headed right his drug dealer. That was it. The MC5 were done. From the first show at the Lincoln Park Bandshell to the last at the Grandee Ballroom. an abrupt end to an explosive career. The band members continued on in different bands. Dennis Thompson played in The New Order. Michael Davis played in Destroy All Monsters. Fred Smith played in Sonic's Rendezvous Band. Rob Tyner performed under his own name and created a new MC5. Wayne Kramer was convicted of selling drugs to undercover federal agents and spent 4 years in prison. Sadly, by the time they were finally inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2024, all 5 members had passed away. Rob Tyner died of heart failure in 1991, in his car in front of his home, at age 46. He left behind a wife and 3 kids. Fred Smith died of heart failure in 1994, after being in poor health, at age 46. He left behind his wife singer Patti Smith and 2 kids. Michael Davis died of liver failure in 2012, at age 68. He left behind a wife and 7 children. Wayne Kramer died in February of 2024 of pancreatic cancer, at age 75, leaving a wife and son. And Dennis Thompson died in May of 2024 of heart failure, at age 75. His son made this recording.
Go ahead, give it a whirl.
Thank you, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and keep kicking out the jams.
Cool. Yeah.
Fred, Sonic Smith's son, Jackson, presented some of his father's equipment for display at the museum.
This thing that weighs a metric ton, hold on, it's really the case. Oh man. Jeez. This is one of my dad's amps from the 5 days. This is a 100-watt Marshall Super Tremolo. One of his 2 amps he had from the time. There would have been probably 3 more of these things. Brought this guitar case. I didn't bring the guitar because I honestly have never seen a picture of him playing it, but I thought the case was kind of self-explanatory. He may have used this guitar in the studio. It was a Gretsch Rally was the model. This Moserite went with Sonic Smith's spacesuit, and this was the Sonic Smith spacesuit guitar. Funny little tidbit, I didn't realize this till years later. He painted over like sparkle blue Moserite, and he kind of poorly painted over it. But this guitar and several others lived in my grandfather's basement. I was like 5 years old, and we were over at my grandpa's house, and I used to like sneaking things out of the medicine cabinet and dropping them down the laundry chute because I just thought it was funny. So we over there one day and I dropped something down the laundry chute and I heard a plop. I was like, what? I looked down there, started dropping more things down there, and there was a ripple. The basement was flooded. I called my grandpa, buddy, there's water in the basement. And he wanted to know how I knew that, but I didn't want to tell him how I knew. And finally he went down there, and when, he dropped the I call it the JC bomb. I don't want to. Jesus Christ! And he went down there, and I guess this, that, a couple other guitars that lived over there were kind of. I think this case was floating in the basement, but they've been through a lot, but still work, still functional. Little family history there.
Some of the band's memorabilia was also displayed at the Rock Hall of Fame Museum. But in the Detroit area, there are reminders of that band that kicked out the jams. The bandshell where they played their first show in Lincoln Park, Michigan. A mural of Brother Wayne in Detroit outside the Lager House. And a mural on the exterior walls of the old Grandee Ballroom. It has been placed on the National Register of Historic Places, but is currently for sale. Thank you for watching.